Hey guys, I'm Chris Stadler, and today we're going to talk about why I love working with small companies so much. So, I'm an operations consultant, and my goal is to bring clarity and order and momentum to visionary companies by building disciplined teams, aligning culture with purpose, and making complex processes and operations make sense. And so that visionary leaders can lead, and so organizations can grow without excuses. So I'm like a high level project manager who gets people focused, communicating, and moving. All right, let's talk about why I like working with small businesses so much. All right, so first off, small businesses are still small enough to where they haven't lost their reason for living. They haven't lost their reason for existing. I've seen so many businesses, they get bigger, they get acquired by private equity, or they're trying to get acquired by private equity, and or there's just corporations. I mean, when I was teaching at the University of Oregon, we would bring in people from these big companies, and a few of them were interesting, and a lot of them were just like, I don't know if you understand what you do anymore. I think you've forgotten what you do. And so I was a strategist, right? And so I'm like, all right, what kind of message do people need to hear? And we'd hear from these strategists, and very few of them were very good at talking about what they do. And it just felt like, oh, we just do reasonable stuff. And I'm like, in talking about campaigns they worked on, and I don't care about the campaign you worked on. Like, that's a cool campaign and everything, and it probably is impressive to some company somewhere. But for me, I'm trying to figure out, what the heck do you do? What do you do every day? And then how do you go about it? Where's the magic in what you do? And people forget about that when they get big, when they get too uh when they reach a certain level maybe. And I'm just bored by that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm super bored by that. And keep in mind, I come from a background working with a small engineering lab where there were just some processes that were just kind of left, and all the engineers were like, I don't know, I'm just doing my job. Somebody needs to clean this up. And the director was like, why doesn't everybody just work more? And it was it was when we slowed down and actually went upstairs, took a group of guys. We actually got to a different place, got all the engineers in a room, not the lab director. I told him I didn't want him there. And we just started talking through things because I didn't want the lab director just saying, I don't know why we're talking. We should just be working. And so we got the guys together and we just started talking. What are the problems that we're dealing with? And it was amazing when we started talking about the problems, that the problems dissolved. And so, and that's why I like working with creative, innovative groups of people, because especially engineers, people who have to do the work, because it can't just stay. I think most people like talking about ideas and problems when they know that we're going to try to do something about it. And the reason we're defining it is so we can break it down in its component parts and really understand why is this problem important to solve in the first place? Why does it matter that we solve this problem in the first place? And then why and then do we have hope that it's actually, this conversation is actually going to that place? And sometimes it's fun, sometimes you joke around a little bit to make sure that everybody is cool with talking a little bit and nobody's rushed, because if you're rushed you can't you're if you're rushed, you're just going to constantly be trying to solve the problem and not understand it. And that's fine when it's like, what's the problem? Oh, nobody wants to go to the bank and make the deposit. Okay, well, someone needs to raise their hand, right? That's an easy problem to solve. Or I'll do it. The harder problems are the ones that plague the organization longer, and nobody wants to make the decision. They feel hard and they feel vague, and they nobody knows what the right thing to do is. And that's when that's when I'm the most satisfied, because I get to sit in the middle and say, okay, well, why is this a problem? Why does this matter? How important is it? What Oh, it's too bad we can't, and think of solutions. And then someone's like I've had times where I was almost like, you know, in the engineering lab, they have a problem, and I'm like, wow, it's too bad we can't like tie this thing to a carrier pigeon and send it to the thing. And then one of the engineers was like, yeah, that's stupid, but you know what might work? And then it basically was just like my idea turned into technology. Right? So the and the cool part about working in organizations like this is that What I love is that I don't have to come up with all the solutions. I don't, in fact, at the lab, I hardly came up with any of the solutions. My solution, the solution I came up with is let's talk about the problems and make sure we understand them in English, right? Make sure we understand them simply. And that's all I did, and it's super fun. So that's why I like working with those kinds of companies. Let's go to the next thing. So, and oh, the other thing about small companies, there's no bureaucracy to prevent action. If something's really important and you're taking things top down, like, hey, here's our vision, mission, and everything's lining up, and then here are initiatives that we need to get accomplished. Oh, and we have to keep operations running. Now you're lined up, and you're like, okay, cool. Now what's next? And we're like, we don't have to sit here and think about it forever. We can start doing some stuff. We have the power. We can do it. Um, and so the next question is, how do you do that practically and make sure that things are moving and make sure that things don't stall all the time? And that's another thing we could talk about if you want. Okay, so what's the other nice thing about yeah, that's small companies. Oh, that's small companies. Well, let's just stop it there. That's great. So small companies, they're not so big they've lost their reason for existing. The CEO cares and usually cares about what the company stands for, which is because he wants to go out in public and people are like, hey, you're the owner of this company, right? And he doesn't want to be like, who's asking, right? He wants to be like, yeah, yeah, I'm the owner of that company. That's yeah, we love the work we do. And they're like, we love what you stand for. We love what you do too. Or if someone's horrible and they're like, we hate your value. Oh, you're the owner of this company. You're like, yep. And they're like, we hate your values. We hate what you stand for or whatever. And you're like, well, you know what? That's fine, but we stand for them and we are consistent and we're not hypocrites. And you can even be proud in those situations because you're like, look, we're doing the right thing. And not everybody's going to see that, but we are doing the right thing. And, the only place to go is forward. So let's go. You don't have to apologize to the culture. You're doing the right thing. Um, and then finally, there's no bureaucracy to prevent action. So once we decide, hey, this is what's important to do, then we can just start moving forward and we don't have to worry about, oh, we have to run it by the board of directors. No, it's if the visionary says this is where we're going and it's a priority, and I, as the integrator or the ops consultant and the chief operations officer, whoever that is, we're all like, yeah, no, that's the next thing we need to be doing. Then the excuses go out the window, and the next question is, how do we do it? So that's why I like working with small companies. All right, yeah. Once again, this is Chris Stadler, operations consultant, who, by the way, loves EOS, loves the entrepreneurial operating system, and I love the tools that it provides. And so I'd love to hear from you if you have any questions, leave some comments, whatever. And I look forward to talking with you.